Hi, Dr. Carlos Todd here to discuss all things anger and conflict. And today we're going to talk about the workplace and issues around anger in the workplace. And why is it that we need more anger management or training around anger management for employees, especially in this time? Before and since COVID, I think workplaces have been under a significant amount of stress for the employer. I watched recently a video which was pretty tragic, where this individual was holding in anger across what seemed like months, and ultimately actually what seemed like a few years, and ultimately went into the workplace and did something pretty destructive, actually deadly. And it was really an issue of just holding stress, even though they were responsible for what they did. But this person held stress, and it was based on the reports that I saw, they did not manage this. The employer did not manage this. So employees do need anger management training, and that is what I have been providing for the better part of the last 15 to 20 years. In addition to working with couples around anger and conflict, in addition to working with individuals around anger and conflict, this has been a passion of mine over the years. So why is it that employees need anger management training? Part of the reason, again, is because the workplace is overwhelmed, and because of COVID and because of the issues that exist now socially, individuals are required to do much more. One individual is oftentimes required to do a lot more than they may have done before, or that maybe that 2 employees or 3 employees may have had to do. So the level of stress that individuals are under can be significant. And if they do not have the skills to manage stress, they're going to be challenged. One of the things that the model that I created does is that it addresses key areas in terms of anger management. That is communication skills, emotional competence, resiliency, right? Being able to manage change as it comes up, being able to understand and address issues around conflict styles, negotiation, right? They have a need in some area, they're able to come to their supervisor and really be able to talk it through. And then just general stress management skills, right? I mean, the employer can't be responsible for everything, so the employee needs to be responsible for managing stress. A lot of employees don't have good emotional regulation skills. What is emotional regulation? It really is the ability not to blow your top, right? There's so many things that go on in our lives that are challenging, that we just have to be able to work through. And if you don't have a regulation skills, it's like a 2-year-old, right? Every time something happens, you throw a tantrum. And tantrums are really bad for other people around you. It's going to affect your ability to engage socially. But it's also going to affect your ability to function in the world. But it also has a significant impact, we know, on people's health, right? Every time that you have these constant episodes where you're frustrated and you don't know how to manage it, it ups the adrenaline and cortisol in your system, and there goes that, right? I have, at least on one occasion that I can remember right now, worked with an individual right after they had a heart attack, and part of the prescription by their medical provider was to do anger management. It is clear that when you have that level of adrenaline and cortisol in your system, you will likely have issues. You have the inability for your body to manage disease, because high levels of adrenaline and cortisol lower immune function. It's something that I want you to kind of keep in mind for those employers and employees that may be watching. Poor communication skills, not knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say it. What is the best time to express this? How do I know when I'm flooded emotionally? Because when you're flooded emotionally, sometimes you tend to say the wrong thing, or you say the right thing in the wrong way. So learning better communication skills is a part of anger management training for employees. It is also clear that poor anger management in the workplace is going to have some impact on productivity in particular. The issue, I think, is that at the end of the day, businesses exist to make profit, right? I mean, if you're not profiting, the business is not going to operate. If you have an employee who is stressed, who's not, because of poor communication, is not going to speak up and share ideas or express things that could be helpful to the organization, over time, it's going to have an impact on the productivity of the operation. One of the things that I've seen is that sometimes we think about a problem employee as, some line employee working in a factory. But I've worked with managers, I've worked with physicians, I've worked with all kinds of different people in high positions, that their inability to manage their anger has real impacts on patient care. It has real impacts on engagement, and it has real engagement with with other employees or patients and so on. And these things at the end of it all makes it difficult for an organization to be productive. The other thing that it creates some issues with is just leadership, right? And the culture of a relationship. Having a hostile environment is a productivity issue also, where people can't express themselves or not express themselves well. This creates a real struggle, or can create a real struggle, or power struggles in a company that you do not want. Do not want a culture where, somewhere on Glassdoor or one of these websites where people are posting reviews that it's a hostile work environment. You're not going to attract the best talent. You're not going to get the most out of your employees. So having some anger management training, whether that's in a group or individual, it matters in the end in terms of culture of the organization. It puts your organization at risk if you don't have good anger management training, right? Liability issues, risk management issues. An employee who goes into work and says something or does something, even if they say something to a customer, right? You end up with bad reviews. I mean, that's going to be an issue, right? Or they go into a company and do something bad to another employee. I mean, you really put yourself at an employee puts themselves at high liability. So anger management programs or training really can help. Even conflict management training can really help employees to be in a better place to handle themselves and therefore lower or reduce the liability to an organization. And at the end of the day, you want to understand that anger management training also helps to raise the level of functioning in the company, right? People are more cohesive, they know how to work together, and that's, in many ways, you can build a high-performing team. So you take this one issue of how do you manage anger, how do you manage conflict? It looks like do we need this? Right? My submission is that you do. Many come, right? And if handled well, right? And sometimes handling it means that individual employee has to do some kind of structured program. And I have structured programs for online where the person does it independently and the supervisor can monitor. I also have a program set up where you work with me. The employee works with me individually, and that things like nurses or police officers I have a specific program for. Then physicians I have a program for. And then also a program for the individual employee, as I said earlier. So those are all areas that I think that are pretty useful. So couples fight school. You want to connect with us on masteringanger.com. The link is below, or masteringconflict.com for more information about how to access these programs. Thanks for watching this next video, and we'll see you next time where we talk about anger and conflict.